Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In today's video we are continuing our look at the game Pillage, and today we are going to look at how to build a force, how to use the army lists, and how to basically get things like talents and make it a force that you can bring to the table. There are lots of different ways that you can build your army, and this system is really nice and straightforward, and I think it's worth just having a short video explaining how to do it and just really highlighting it. So list building in Pillage is actually very simple, and I just want to take 10 minutes and share with you how it works, and then as you're looking at the models that you've got, you can already start having a think about how you're going to field those in your first games. So we are going to create two small forces that are going to face off against each other in a learning game, which I'm going to have, and we're going to try and make those forces interesting, make sure there's some differences between them. We're going to be building an Anglo Saxon force, and we're going to be building a Norman force, because I like the old grudge match, and where I am in East Anglia, I feel like basing my sort of collection around the Hereward the Wake fight against William when he's trying to secure his power. So when everyone is rebelling and they're fighting in the fens and essentially setting fire to everything around here. So in Pillage, most of the time you are going to be agreeing a points cost or gold coin cost with your opponent. Gold coins, gold pieces are the points currency of the game. Now there is scope there for campaigns. You could initially start with a points cost of say 300 gold pieces, and all the loot that you capture in the game would then be added at the end of the game and play into the next. Most of the scenarios suggest a gold cost limit, and a standard game for a decent afternoon's play is going to be 600 gold pieces, but the rules do suggest that you can go down as far as 250 gold pieces if you wanted to play on, for example, a 2x2 and just have a small half an hour long learning game. Costs and restrictions are placed on each of the lists to replicate the sort of differences between armies and between nations. So for example, the Normans are going to find it a lot easier to field a warhorse than Anglo Saxons, but the Saxons are probably going to find it a lot cheaper to field an unarmoured warrior with a shield and a spear. Across all of the armies, a standard warrior with an improvised weapon costs 10 gold pieces, and then you build on it from there. Now there are 7 armies in the base book here, and there are some downloads on the Victrix website where you can also do all the pre-ordering and all of that stuff, and they give you things like the Byzantines and the Rus as well. So if there's something that you're not interested in this book, it's probably on the website. Having said that, in the main rulebook there is a generic list as well, which lets you essentially create things and tinker with things a little bit. So if there is some nation or some specific individual's army that you want to replicate, you could use that generic list and maybe borrow bits and bobs from other places to flesh it out. Now there's some basic restrictions on every army in Pillage. So first of all, your army has to be led by a chieftain. Now a chieftain is a catch-all term for your warlord, your captain, whatever you want to call it. That's just essentially their class. Now you have to have a chieftain to lead, and you can have one chieftain per full 20 warriors in your army. So if you have 40 warriors in your army, you can deploy 2 chiefs. Next restriction, you can only have 1 banner in your army if you choose to take one. Now banners are quite fun. They add a little bit of inspiration to your warriors. So if there is a banner within 6 inches of your warriors when they're in melee, they can re-roll 1s that they roll when they roll to hit. Banners also have the added bonus that any warriors who are taking a morale test within 6 inches of them will pass automatically. The downside is your banner bearer is going to take a bit of a negative to his defense. One of the other things that you can only have 1 warhorn in your warband. Warhorns are quite fun as well. If you have a warhorn, they can add to the movement. A warhorn will add 2 inches of movement to every warrior that is within 6 inches of the model bearing the warhorn at the start of their move. Similar to the banner, models that are within 6 inches of the warhorn as well will also automatically pass their morale tests. Now I pointed this out in my previous video, but ranged weapons can also only be 25% of the army total. So if you have 10 figures, then 2.5 rounded up to 3 of them can have ranged weapons, and this applies to cavalry as well. So you're going to have to think very carefully about what you're bringing and how are you going to do it. Now, interestingly, just as a sort of a side note, if the cavalry are armed with missile weapons, they count towards the limit of cavalry, not towards the limit of missile weapons. So you could have 3 cavalrymen armed with javelins and then 3 archers as well in a 10 model force. And that's it. Those are the basic restrictions. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to the desk. I'm going to show you the warbands I've got. We're going to work out some points totals and we're going to see what we come up with. Okay, so we are going to have a look at the Anglo Saxons first, and the best way to start, I feel, is with the leader. So here is my Anglo Saxon chief. Now I do just have to say a quick thank you to Victrix. I already had loads of Normans I could use from my First Crusade project. I think I painted up hundreds of those, and I still had quite a few left over, but they kindly sent me a couple of sprues of the Anglo Danes for me to build up so I could do some games and create a force. So this is what I've managed to do with them. So this here is my chief. As you can see, he has a sword and a shield and he is fully armored. So if we have a look at the Anglo-Saxon equipment costs on their army list, we can see here that the chief costs 30 gold pieces, his armour will cost him 5, his shield will cost him 5, and his hand weapon will cost him 10. So he will cost a total of 50 gold pieces. Now when we compare this to the Norman, you'll see that he actually cost a few more. So we'll put him down, so 50 gold pieces for the chief. Next up, we have 2 Huscarls. Now, the Saxons have access to Huscarls, and what these do is they have the ability to fight a little bit more fiercely with their Dane axes. They don't suffer the same penalties that other characters do, and they can also inspire the troops around them, giving them a bit of bonus movement once during the game. So this Huscarl here, you can see he has his Dane axe, he is fully armoured, and he has a shield as well, and he can only use the shield when he's not using the Dane axe. So is really only useful against ranged weapons. Now, as we look on the army list here, you can see that Huscarls are quite pricey. So he costs 40 gold pieces for his base cost, 5 for the armor, 5 for the shield, and 15 for the Dane axe, meaning he is going to cost me 65. Now, his friend here doesn't have the shield. I thought it would just be fun to have one who didn't have a shield, so he is just not going to have the cost of that. So take 5 off of that, he's going to cost 60. So just these 2 guys here have cost me 125 gold pieces. Now, I thought I might need some sort of just general troops here, so I decided to go with 3 unarmoured warriors who just had shields and spears. I'll talk about the other guy in a second. So these miniatures here, these are obviously all Victrix. I'm quite pleased with how these have come out actually, and these are a lot of fun to paint. But these guys are 10 points for the base cost. As you can see, they are 5 points for the shield and 5 points for the spear. So these are 20 gold pieces each. So these 3 on their own will come to 60. So it's these 3 the equivalent of one of those Huscarls without the shield. The other chap that I have here, he is armoured. Now, armour in this doesn't just mean chainmail. It can be any type of armour. It could be sort of gambesons and sort of leather armour, or padded armour rather. And yeah, so this guy's a fully armoured warrior. So he's just going to cost 5 points more than that. So he's going to cost me 25. I thought it would be fun to actually have just a normal Saxon who's got a hand weapon and be fully armoured. So as you can see, again, it's very simple. 10 points for his base cost, 5 for the armour, 5 for the shield, and 10 for the hand weapon, for a total of 30. So here is the bowman. So let's have a little look at the list. So the bowman costs a base of 10. This one isn't wearing any armor at all, and a bow will cost 25 points. So he's going to be 35 points on his own. I've got 2 of them, so they're just going to cost me 70 points. So they are quite pricey. I've got 10 models so far in the warband, so I can have at least 3 range. And in fact, I've got just the perfect one to go in it, which is this slinger down here. So I thought it would be fun to add a slinger in. So if we have a look down here, he's just costs me 10 gold pieces and a sling is 2 gold pieces. So all in all, I think I'm sort of just between 370 and 390, but I will just add them up and we'll have a look. Right, so here we are. Here is the completed starting Saxon warband. Now, these come out at about 370, but I thought it would be fun to just sort of push this a little bit further. So I've decided to take the talent Thegn. So talents are abilities that you can buy your warlord, and they can have a maximum of 2. Now, Thegn costs 15 gold pieces, and essentially it lets me promote one warrior in my warband to be the Thegn. And as long as he is within 2 inches of my warlord, when my warlord takes his first wound, that wound is negated. He doesn't jump in the way and take the wound, he just like yells a warning or throws his shield in the way just in time. And I think that's quite nice and thematic. Now, all in all, altogether, that brings this little warband here to 387 gold pieces, which I think is a really nice amount for a starting game. Just shy of 400, so we're sort of 2/3 of the way to a full game, but enough to get used to mechanics. So 387, let's see what we can do with the Normans. Okay, so I thought it would be fun to add a banner, as the Anglo Saxons didn't have one. As you can see, this guy is wearing armour. He doesn't have a shield, but he does have a hand weapon. So if we look at the list, he's 10 gold pieces basic, then the armour is 5, the hand weapon is 10, which puts him up to 25, and the banner is 50. So this guy is 75 gold pieces. I made up these 2 warriors because I really like the poses. So both of these chaps are fully armoured with shields and hand weapons. So they are 10 gold pieces basic, armour and shield are 5 each for 20, and hand weapons are 10. So these guys are 30 each. So just these 2 guys are going to cost me 60 gold pieces. Okay, so this is the meat of my Norman force here. I've got 4 warriors, all with armour, shields and spears. So again, let's just really quickly look at the list. I know this is now probably fairly self-explanatory, but we'll finish going through it just for the sake of the video. But as you can see, he costs 10 gold pieces basic, 5 for the armour, 5 for the shield and 5 for the spear. So 25 gold pieces each for these guys, meaning these 4 cost me 100. So far, we're on 275 gold pieces. So I have this chap here who is a unarmoured spearman. So he is just going to cost me 20 points. If you remember how the other ones worked out, they were 25 each. He's not got armour, so he will just be 20. I thought it would be fun to have something other than bows, and why not go with the crossbows, but then I did see the cost. So I have one crossbowman here who is wearing armour and one who is unarmoured. The one warrior in armour is 10 points basic, 5 points for the armour, and then the crossbow is 30. So this chap over here is 45 points, the other chap is 40. So these crossbows hopefully are going to do quite a lot in the game. Now, if I've added this up right, that takes me to about 380 points, but we'll just double check. Right, here we are then. Here is the Norman warband, and I have added it up and they are 380 points. So just 7 shy of the Saxons. I can't find anything to give anyone that's going to make it a bit any more different. If I, for example, had armoured this crossbowman here, then that would be 5 more points. So there would only be 2 points in it. So I'm going to make up some models, but I think for our learning game, 387 gold pieces against 380 should be absolutely fine. Okay, so that is army building in Pillage. As you can see, it's very straightforward. There are just a few restrictions to bear in mind, but certainly nothing that makes it particularly complicated. There is a long list of different talents that you can give your warlords, which will make a bit of a difference during play. And there are some quite fun ones on there, like things like pack masters as well, if you've got access to warhounds, and the Normans get some bonuses with cavalry. So there we go. Now the next video after this one will be our battle report using these forces. We've already selected the scenario we're going to play, and we're going to pretty much stick with the name of the game, and we are going to use the scenario Pillage because, you know, why wouldn't we? Now, as always, I will leave up some photos at the end so you can see these 2 forces. Anyway, let me know what you think of the system. Let me know what you think of the video. And if you have any questions at all about what I've covered on here, just pop it down below in the comments. Once again, if you want to pre-order these rules, there are links down below that will take you to the Victrix website. And there are also links to all of the Facebook groups and websites for Pillage. And there is a link over to Guillaume's YouTube channel, which is awesome, with loads of more Pillage content. And you can put on the closed captions if you can't speak French, and follow along absolutely fine. I've been going back through the battle reports and really enjoying them. I just watched one that he did, which involved getting honey from a bear, and I can't wait for some of these scenarios to be translated into English. They look like they are going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll be back with the battle report as soon as I can. In the meantime, look after yourselves, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.